So I got a Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education, and then my first graduation was in 1995. Then I went back and I got my master's. At that time it was the Reading Specialist Master's, and that was in 2001. And then I've more recently added my administrator's endorsement, which I needed to become a principal in Nebraska. I do different things on a day-to-day basis. So here at Faith Lutheran, we are a K-5 school with a preschool as well. We're an anomaly in Lutheran education in lots of ways because we don't have middle school, but that's because here in Lincoln we have a separate middle school and high school. So what does my day consist of? I get to greet kids and families. I love starting my day with that. I try to wander hallways as much as I can, going out, being in the classrooms, helping my educators know I'm here for you. We always say here at Faith, coming to the principal's office is not necessarily a bad thing. This needs to be a safe environment for kids. So yes, I do work on discipline. When students have issues, they have to come and see me sometimes. But this is also a place when families are struggling. I have parents that come in, and this is a safe place for them to talk. It's a safe place for kids that just need a little bit of decompression time. Obviously, I'm in meetings throughout the day. I am very blessed because we serve and work as one ministry, Faith Church, School, and Touching Hearts. So I'm constantly up and down the hallway with our pastors. I have a meeting with our pastor and our DCE in a little bit. We have a good time here. There's so much business that we do, and there's so much interaction with people and helping to move our ministry forward. We want to be that beacon of light in Northeast Lincoln. People know Faith Lutheran is a place where I can go. If I need help, if I need to talk to somebody, if there's certain needs that I have, this is a place I can go. But man, oh man, we have a whole lot of fun doing it. I love on people. That's what I say. I love on people all day long, from kids to parents to my staff, whomever it is, and we do a whole lot of laughing along with it. And then I do budgets and numbers and all of that too. I am what people would say is the admission office's worst nightmare, because we moved here to Nebraska when I was a junior in high school in January. And when I had a day off, my mom said, hey, there's a Concordia down the road in Seward. We had lived in Michigan before, so never heard of a Concordia. And we just showed up unannounced. And showed up and walked in the admission office, and there I was. And so, like I say, admission office worst nightmare, which is hilarious because then I worked in the admission office when I was at school. So they took us on a tour, they did all kinds of things, and I fell in love with the campus. It was the only place I visited, knew I was going into education, hadn't thought about Lutheran education, and yet that all changed with that one day that I was on campus. The people were the best things. I loved the classes. I loved learning. I loved interacting with students and being in classrooms and all of that. But I absolutely loved the professors. When I was there, it was the Dr. Preußes that were there. So Bill and Judy were there. I had Gail Groch on. I had Dr. Sirk at that point in time. So it's a lot of people, and they just made you feel like you were part of the family. They lifted you up. They constantly were giving you critiques and things to make you a better educator, but they knew me as a person. I still, when I walk on campus, anytime at this point in time, anybody that I see that knows me, they always come up to me and say hello. When I first started teaching, Judy Preuss, I was teaching 5th grade. Civil War was her thing. Literally, here's a key to my house. Go to my basement and take any books that you want to help you teach that unit. You know, so it's just those things. It's not like I graduated and I moved on and that was it. No, anytime I ever go back, somebody recognizes me, and I, of course, remember all of them. And it's like they saw me yesterday, and we just pick up exactly where we were. So that for me was huge, the relationships. I've lived in large cities and that, but I love that small town. I love being able to interact and to know people. And I think that was one of the biggest things. They took an interest in each person and made you feel like you were known. I did. So when I did my first master's degree, it was still online, it was on campus for the beginning. And so I was coming to Seward in the summers and met in a small group cohort. Dr. Judy Preuss led some of those classes, and other professors led the classes, and it was the same people coming together every summer. It started to transition to online before I finished, but it was the same kind of thing. And when I did my administration endorsement, that was all online, but I still went through each class with the same group of people. So it was hilarious. Every time the first day of class, it was like, do introductions, tell something about yourself. Well, it's the same people. So the professor was new, but trying to come up with something different for each person for each class was just hilarious because we felt like we knew one another. Yeah, professors at Concordia were great. When I first started, the advisor that I had was primarily for secondary education. So as I went through my freshman year and thinking about education, which route am I going? Where am I going to be? There was so much mentoring and so many opportunities to come in and chat with them. Made the decision to go elementary ed. Originally, I was thinking I wanted math for my subject area. Quickly went, yeah, no, I don't need to take those high-level math classes. So then I switched to social sciences, and my advisor. So I had 3 different advisors throughout my time at Concordia, and each one took special care to meet with me to make sure my needs were being met. What are you thinking? And early on it was that, have you thought about Lutheran education? I had moved around, and so Lutheran schools had never been a part of my existence. They just didn't exist in many of the parts of the country where I had lived growing up. And so to think about being a Lutheran educator, it was kind of like, well, what's different about it? I quickly learned what was different about it. And I can't imagine living my life teaching outside of Lutheran education. It is just so ingrained to share the love of Christ with all of the students. I don't know how you would do discipline without being able to bring Jesus into it, being able to share love and to start, like we started the school day with chapel. Wednesday's my favorite day. I wake up with a smile on my face because we get to sing and we get to dance and we get to do all of those things in chapel. And it's just an awesome thing. Definitely came from those professors that I had at Concordia and helped to shape and guide. You know, you're an 18, 19, 20-year-old and you think you know everything. You quickly discover how little you know, and yet they're there for you and they walk through everything. Having dinner at professors' houses, being invited to come over and babysit their kids, all of those things were so precious to me. And I look back now and realize how important and how shaping they were. You go to class, there are skills that you need to learn, obviously, to become a classroom educator, because no matter what you think you know, until you're actually thrown into the classroom, you have no idea. But the professors do their best to prepare you for it, walking you through different things. Helping you to learn all of the acronyms. In education, we use acronyms for everything. You know, what's an IEP? What's RTI? All of those things. So there's all of that learning that goes into it. But then it ultimately is helping you to learn how to share God's love, because that's what we're here to do in Lutheran education. I will teach you academics. I always say sometimes that students learn in spite of what we do in the classroom. It's not because of us as educators, it's in spite of us. But I'm here to walk alongside them, give them their basic skills and knowledge in that. But man, oh man, in our culture today, to think of a child going through life without knowing that they have someone who is on their side all the time, walking with them, loves them no matter what. And that's what we get to be. We get to be God for these children, to expose them to a God who loves them, and then to be able to walk alongside and to see what a Christian actually can be like, and how you can integrate that throughout your day. It's such an amazing blessing. And so much of that came from professors and office people and staff and everybody at Concordia. I remember my parents when they would come and visit me, and we were at a football game, and at that time it was President Walz, and he was like, "Hey Krista, how are you doing?" And they're like, "Who is that?" And I'm like, "That's the president." And they're like, "He knows you?" And I'm like, "This is a good thing. This is not a bad thing that the president knows me," because they're out and about. They're at all of the events. They get to know students. And that's what my goal has become, is to really get to know students and families, because everybody's dealing with so many hard things in their lives. They need to know they have a safe place to go, someone that they can trust. I always joke, my confirmation pastor is when I first started to realize, oh, my religion isn't just something I do on Sunday mornings. It's actually something that you can live every day. But it wasn't until I got to Concordia that I actually started to realize how you do that. Through different Bible studies that were on campus, through walking across the street to go to St. John's to worship with my friends, going to chapel on campus, not as often as I probably should have, but at least occasionally, and just constantly being surrounded in that environment was such a huge blessing. It helped prepare me for ministry, because when you are a Lutheran educator, you're on an island sometimes, because everybody in your church always views you as a teacher. And so there is an adjustment period. You're not just a worshiper like everybody else. You always have your teacher or educator hat on. But it helps you to learn how to integrate within all of the different groups and how to still be you, while at the same time being an educator and seeing your children and your parents and all of those things at church too. And then how do you take care of your own spiritual life? If you're not in Bible studies with your parents, which can be awkward sometimes, where are you looking for some of that spiritual fulfillment for yourself? Because I can't come here and take care of everybody else and be Jesus and walk with Jesus for them if I'm not making sure that I'm somehow getting in the Word and taking care of myself. And a lot of that came through those experiences at Concordia. And it's different when you leave, because at Concordia, it's right there in your face. You know, there's constantly things that you can get involved in. When you leave, you have to take a little bit of that on yourself. But I think that what Concordia does is helps to ground you and make you desire that and want to have that in your personal life when you leave. The people I get to work with each and every day. The staff that we have here is just amazing. We talk about it, what we refer to ourselves literally is our faith family. And bringing people in, getting to know them, doing the relationships, walking alongside. There are people that are dealing with a whole lot of junk in their lives. And the last 2 years has not helped with that. And they do a great job of putting on a mask and making it through the day and trying to cover it up. I'm blessed sometimes that I get to see behind the mask. It's a lot of weight sometimes to bear. It takes a lot of energy. And I have those days where I just feel overwhelmed by everything that's going on. And yet, I can't imagine doing anything else. You know, I get to rejoice. 2 weeks ago, we were at a different church because we had a whole family and all 5 of their kids were getting baptized. This is a family that we've had for, the oldest is now 15, I think, and getting to see them get baptized. This last week at our church, we had a mom with her 5th grader and a preschooler getting baptized. Those are the moments that we are so blessed. Every spring, I get invited to graduation parties, getting to see those kids and to be like, all right, I want a hug. And it's no longer give me a hug. It's come down here and give me a hug kind of a thing and that. And it's so special that we get to walk and be a part of these families and to be able to share Jesus with them. It blows me away when I stop and think about it. And when I think about how amazing God has been over my years of ministry, that He's allowed me to play this role in so many different families. Not that they're always great. They don't all love me. They don't always agree with me. But for the most part, I pray every day, just help me to know how best to work for these families and how to be a blessing to them.